So I like went down YouTube University, like I'm watching YouTube videos, like I'm trying to learn everything I could associated with this concept. So I was driving for dollars, writing down addresses, trying to find the, shittiest house in the nicest neighborhood. So my aunt had a connection in Grand Rapids, so that's how I ended up moving here. I worked for a company, 1099. This is July of 2022 is when I graduated. And I was a 1099 employee. Kid you not, I had $3,000 in my bank account. Like I just graduated college. Like I'm just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So I was an acquisition manager for JTK Property Solutions. Shout out Joel Cook. He was awesome. I learned a lot in real estate just through him. So what an acquisition manager is we're responsible for dealing with sellers, negotiating properties, getting properties under contract, walking houses, putting together rehab budgets. And I had this house in Wyoming, Michigan, that I walked, and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty sweet property. There's some great comps. And I was like, okay, there's a couple buyers who I knew we were probably going to sell that contract to. We got them through, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We're not interested. And I'm like, this is a good deal. I'm like, I don't know why anyone's not buying this thing. So I went to the owner of the company. I said, hey, if I can raise the money for this deal, and I was 22 at the time. I said, hey, if I can raise the money for this deal, would you could I just buy it with what I got it locked up for? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So I go to our dispo agent, Amber, and she was probably upper 30s, maybe 40. And I said, hey, do you want to come flip this house with me? And she's like, yeah, well, how are we going to get the money? And I just started calling people in my network. Like I called my uncle, I called my parents. I was calling I'm like, hey, can you hook me up with this person? Like I know they're a financial advisor. Maybe they have some money they could lend me. So I was just like hustling, just grinding, just trying to find someone who would give me the money. So I call my uncle and he's like, yeah, I'd be interested in it. And so I said, okay, let's schedule a call. So I had all the photos from the house we walked, put down the rehab budget of what I thought we were going to spend. I'm like, here are all the comps. Like, I think this is a good deal. Would you lend me $160,000? And he's like, yeah, we'll do it. So I think I paid him 10% interest on his money and 10% of the net profit on it as well. So I got the house under contract for $115,000. I got a loan with him for $160,000. So the difference was the rehab budget. And I was the one swinging the hammer. And so I fixed that house up and we sold it and we made $62,000.
Wow.
At 22, using all other people's money to flip my very first house. And so that's when I got my first taste of, okay, I can use other people's money to buy real estate. And yeah, here we are to this day.
That's insane.
So that's how I got started.
That's insane. And so a lot of people, like, that story is inspiring because a lot of people that might have $3,000 in their bank, they're like, hey, I'm not in a position to do this, right?
Yeah.
But it's just about like the doors that you go knock on in theory, right?
Yeah.
Of how can you creatively get this done? With that being said, as soon as you started telling the story about what you took on top of the purchase price, right? Because you took that for the rehab, the rehabilitation. So what they're going to be upgrading the home with.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people aren't confident in swinging the hammer themselves. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. So for you were able to put your nose in. Is there anything that you contracted out like that?
Yeah, we contracted
with?
out, like, we had to put a new furnace in there. So we had an HVAC guy. And like, honestly, how I got those contacts was Facebook groups.
Sweet.
Like Grand Rapids Metro page, like shout out Grand Rapids Metro page. They have a specifically real estate platform. Like if you need handyman or HVAC guys or whatever. So like, that's how I found my contacts.
Yep.
But the important thing for me and why I wanted to do it myself and swing the hammer is I wanted to know what things cost. I think it's important to know what things cost, especially when you start outsourcing, hiring contractors to do work. You need to have a general idea of what things are going to cost. Yep.
So you heard it there first. Like, if you think that this is out of reach, this is just literally one of so many lessons and stories that we are going to share that we hope you relate to. We hope that you can find yourself like being like, hey, this intrigues me. I didn't think that this was possible. A lot of the stuff creative wise, because I'm on the bank side.
Yeah.
I fund, yes, for investors, portfolio, conventional government loans, the whole 9 yards when it comes to like residential lending. But there's another world on top of residential lending in the creative finance space, right? So as we learn, as we're doing, like, I'm learning from you as you're doing these deals, I've been amazed at how you can do this. Like, even somebody who is pretty well versed in how to fund a residential property right now, right? Like, there's always stuff that I'm learning from you on this creative finance that I feel like is just going to be uber valuable.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's a lot of different ways to get creative on putting deals together. Like there really is. You just have to know what questions to ask. So if you never ask a question, then you're never going to get an answer.